How's it going there? Facebook fans. I'm making this video just for my Facebook crew. And so when you go to iPetGoat, which was created by AI, no human, they had a human front man, but this guy that said he made it, but no, this was strictly created by AI. This is about the next 9/11. Now you'll see the stag horns over Trump's head, and you can see Trump, the way he sits with his upside down. Now the stag horns are all about regeneration, rebirth, like Trump said, or James Bond said, they asked James Bond, what's your hobby? And he said, resurrection. And the stag was Skyfall in the movie, James Bond movie, Skyfall. The stag horns, the deer, the stag were on top of the Skyfall pillars. I don't want to get into all that, or this will turn into a 10-minute video. I just want to make this really quick. We all know that Trump sits with that upside down pyramid hand. You get the idea. There's Trumpy right there, with his, it's just one example. Another example, it's the chalice, right? You with me? It's the divine feminine. We know Trump always had the 666 yoni hand signal. So what is all that? Because we know Trump did it too. See, that's the yoni. You can see it right here. It says yoni hand sign. Okay. It's the divine feminine. Remember the lady that got the first poke ever? First ever poke over there in England? Yeah, she flashed. She flashed on y'all. Believe it or not. Trump was born on the total lunar eclipse. He is the moon child from 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it's, of course, the upside down pyramid is the feminine symbol. And you see the upside down pyramid on all types of products. Right side up is male. Upside down is female. It's for the divine feminine. You with me? Another, again, it's Mother Earth worship, Earth under attack, divine feminine, and that's how Trump sits. Ariana Grande, God is a woman, and she gave you the yoni. Okay, it's all about feminine. It's basically the Grail, the Holy Grail, or as Trump was birthed, as he was birthed as a human, but how he will be rebirthed when he rises from the abyss, the spirit of Antichrist. He's not really going to die, but he's going to have a faked death situation. Could come any day. I mean, in the movie The Devil's Advocate, he says right hand. These are the subtitles. And this guy is playing Trump. He's in Trump. That's the gold. That's overlooking Central Park. That's filmed in Trump's penthouse from the movie The Devil's Advocate. And he's flashing Trump's yoni hand signal. So anyway. In the movie Skyfall, Bond is shot. Get it? Man down. Agent down, they said. Well, as he's falling down into the abyss, into the water, because he's beast out of the sea, because he's going to rise spiritually, believe it or not, at the North Pole. We're going to show you that. But see the yoni hand signal that grabs him? The divine feminine, Lucifer, the female shape-shifting version of the male fallen angel, Satan, saves him, grabs him. That's the yoni. That's what Trump's always showing you. Here's old Trumpy giving you a double shot. I mean, you watch the news, you watch anything. This is what they're giving. I don't care if it's sports, NFL, players, coaches, media. It's their world, man. You can't get in there. You can't have a voice unless you're of them. Period. Trump Tower has 5 multiple addresses. 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue. Well, that happens to match Daniel chapter 7, verses 21 through 25 that speak about the horn as the Antichrist. Jesus said the Antichrist will be here in his own name, John 5:43, and a horn is a trump. A trump is a horn. He's here in his own name. He's the horn. He's the trump. Trump, horn, horn, trump. They're all trumpets. What do you think he's got at the base of Trump Tower? Upside down pyramid, the divine feminine, the moon goddess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across. Let's count them down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's count them back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 666. Yoni. That's why you see the 666 Yoni hand signal. Bushes, divine feminine, the Yoni, the birth canal. You get it? That's their world. I mean, once you learn their world, I don't know why the Lord threw me into that world, but he's thrown me into it. You look at the twin trumps and notice one of them has the horn on top. You can't make it up, folks. The little horn of Daniel 7 as the Antichrist, 721 through 725, that happens to match Trump Tower's 5 multiple addresses. He's here in his own name. A trump is a horn is a trump. Yes, his name comes to 666, and 666 comes to his name. But that's the horn on top. It's the twin trumps. And what rises back up? One world tower. That's when he returns from the dead. Seemingly so. It'll be faked. It'll be staged. You don't get this anywhere else, folks. You don't get the truth in God's word and the truth in the world around you anywhere else on the internet. We've looked. That's why the AI does not push my YouTube site. And I don't share my YouTube with y'all anymore. I don't. This is a watered down mini version. In the movie Skyfall, see, there's Bond's little car driving off. It had the stag horns because it's all about regeneration. Back to the Future, that's what the Twin Pines Mall, that later became the Lone Pine Mall. The Twin Towers became One World Trade Center. You cannot make this stuff up, folks. There's so much more I could tell you about the 7 kings, and that would just nail it down, but that would take forever, right? Saturday Night Live's little skit where they showed you the Twin Towers going down. You know, James Bond right over his head. They got 666. That's on purpose, folks. That's Daniel Craig. That's the back of his head. I mean, I think that's Skyfall. I mean, this is what they do. These aren't coincidences. Oh, that's a coincidence. Yeah. So there's 666 coincidences, right? This was from The Apprentice back in the day. Watch this. How many trumps you got here? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and 1 is not yet coming. When he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the 8th, which is of the 7, goes into perdition. Read Revelation. I paraphrase that. Read Revelation 17, verses 10 and 11. See, because when he returns, the 8th is of the 7, because in the 7, it's about the 7 kings through antiquity. You've got Nebuchadnezzar, not fallen. You got Darius the Mede. That's not Darius III. That's improperly put up there. Then you got Alexander the Great. You've got Napoleon. on this one, this guy here, AH, on his birthday next year, you got a total solar eclipse. That's the next total solar eclipse. That's when we think he returns. Maybe that's when he goes down, but I think that's when he's going to return. So he's the 7th and the 8th. Okay. And he said, I'm serious. As in Sirius, the dog star.
Yes. Well, too much, Dale. I'm serious.
That's Sirius, the dog star is what he's talking about. So I'm going to show you. These are the twin Trumps. You see the hair, and you see the shock on the face of the guy in the background. Remember when they fell, right? And these are your 7 kings we just went over. Count the hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th, and 8th. Okay, the 8th is of the 7. The final 2 is the same one. That's the trick. The twins. Cloning, I don't know. That's what Palpatine. That's why they said Palpatine was thought to be dead but was alive. Cloning, dark science, only secrets only the Siths knew. I don't know. You just never know. You never know. Have an open mind in their world. I would tell you that. There's a lot more that the computer's been around. Cloning's been around. Cloning is far more advanced than what they've ever shown us. We're on a need-to-know basis, just like the people that are part of their organizations on a need-to-know basis. They think they know. They don't know. They don't know. They think they know. That's okay. Now, just to prove to you that this is the twin Trumps right here, I'm going to mute it. This is at regular speed. Watch the twin Trumps go down. And the horror on his face. This is what Saturday Night, this is what their whole world does. This is what their whole world does. Music, movies, television, Grammys, Oscar award shows, face slap, all of it. So all of that to show you this I Pet Goat video, because the pet goat was what George Bush was reading in the classroom in Sarasota. And yes, in Donnie Darko, they had the Sarasota Mall, believe it or not. Yes. So in Dune, they had the sacred tree, and we know all about tree worship and goddess worship and grove worship, but they were palm trees. And where does Trump? Yeah, Palm Beach. Anyway, that's the movie Dune. So you had the stag horns placed over Trump's head. He's the stag. You know, James Bond, Skyfall, stag horns. See his hand signal there. And as soon, this is in super slow motion, then it cuts and you see the stag, the entire stag over here, and you see an exit sign over Trump's head, and you got the bunny rabbit over here. Now, Donnie Darko, he died on October 2nd in the movie, and it's a complete overlay of that this year. So, you know, we're high on October 2nd as being when he would go down. But before then, the internet and all that would probably, because it would be very obvious if that's when he's going down and we're getting close to it, they'd probably, through saying, you know, through blaming an enemy, your internet's down, your, you know, electricity's down, it's on, it's off, the internet's down, you know, there's social media's down, whatever. So, but if they catch us by surprise, like it was to be this weekend, maybe. And I'm very nervous about myself. I've got my own issues of nerve-wrackingness. So you see it starts to get dark and the exit sign goes red, it lights up, and so does the rabbit. And we know that Easter is very pagan, just like all their holidays are pagan, you know. And so it's at that point where Lily gets very sad. And so agent down, right? Well, let's go back to the rabbit. You got him here posing with this Easter bunny, you know, which is what Donnie Darko is all about. Donnie Darko, Frank the Rabbit. And see, Donnie was killed by a jet engine. And of course, what hit the twin Trumps? The New York Jets did. That's right. And now you know why that name's been. This all been planned out, folks, by the AI, which is the ghost in the machine. Remember, Ephesians 6:12 says your enemies are not flesh and blood. It is the fallen angels. So there's Frank the Rabbit, who's throughout the movie Donnie Darko. And he has a lot of right eye stuff going on. His right eye will light up. See how evil and sinister it all is. And I mean, that's the movie poster for Donnie Darko. So you got potential bunny rabbit season, even though in the movie he did go down October 2nd. And if we say Frank the Rabbit right eye, do we get some photos where the right eye is lit up? Yes. So there you get the beam in the right eye in the movie. It's a very creepy movie. And he takes his hat off at some point, the costume hat, and his right eye has the deadly wound out of Zechariah 11:17. So you get to Alec Baldwin. This is all heading somewhere, I promise. So Alec Baldwin's doing a skit back in 2018.
America. Okay.
And he was flashing the yoni for you. He knows what it is. But they're making fun of Trump.
I'm the only one who's willing
and
to actually say this.
And they're not going to not do the 666 yoni divine feminine hand signal. There's different divine feminine hand signals. That's one of them. And when he's done with this, when he's done with the presser at the end,
Answer all of your questions, okay? Does it?
So when they're done, suddenly the rabbit's going to appear.
Okay. And one more thing.
Well, one more thing.
Does anyone else see this rabbit? Okay.
Does anybody see this rabbit? And that was the rabbit that Trump, of course, exact replica of the one that he had posed with.
Okay, I'm not the only one who sees that rabbit, right?
I'm not the only one that sees that rabbit, right? Don't forget, Fox comes to 666, and I think it's Pythagorean gematria. And they also gave you the TV show Lucifer, and Lucius Fox was Batman's helper in the Dark Knight trilogy. Lucius stands for Lucifer. It used to be called Lucifer Trust when it was a publishing company with the United Nations. Later, they were like, ooh, that's, you know, as the decades went on, they were like, we probably should change the name. And they called it Lucius Trust. Well, Lucius Fox, 666, was the actual name of Morgan Freeman's character in the Batman trilogy. Fox is 666 in Pythagorean gematria. So you look it up, and there it is right there. See, I went ahead and showed you how to search it and click images. So now that's just a certain cipher for gematria. There's a lot of different ciphers for gematria. And in Jewish gematria, 666 comes to Donald J. Drumpf, and Don Drumpf comes to 666 in gematria. And Drumpf was the family surname, and I've shown you all that many times. Again, this video it's just going to go on forever if I don't get moving. But
It's wearing glasses. Is that real? Okay. I think this might be a Donnie Darko situation.
Says it might be a Donnie Darko situation. Well, Donnie Darko, he died October 2nd.
Fantastic movie, by the
Fantastic movie, by the way, he says.
way. We love Jake Gyllenhaal, and live from New York, it's Saturday night.
He says, we love Jake Gyllenhaal, and live from New York, it's Saturday night. Well, guess who hosted Saturday Night Live this past weekend?
2007.
Jake
You know how
Gyllenhaal
long
did.
ago that was?
Where it says it right there, April 10th, 2022. So he hosted SNL before we get to this coming Bunny Rabbit weekend coming up, a very pagan weekend that the whole world celebrates. And so I don't know. What do y'all think? Hang on just a quick second here. So Trump matches the Bible prophecy of being here in his own name as Horn, Trump, Trump, Horn. But what about the 666, the number of the man and his number? Well, Don Drumpf comes to 666 in English gematria. And 666 comes to Donald John Drumpf. And you're like, well, his name's not, well, Drumpf was to fulfill the other Bible prophecy of 666. Yes, he is a Drumpf. I'm Trey Stokes. I could change my name to Trey Ketchup. And I can float around Winter Haven or Auburndale. And aren't you Trey Stokes? I'm like, nope, I'm Trey Ketchup. They're like, you're Tully's son. We know who you are. You're a Stokes. I'm still a Stokes. He's still a Drumpf. Donald Trump's family surname was Drumpf. Family descended Hans Drumpf. They changed their name from Drumpf to Trump. It says in the 1600s. You go to Snopes, which I don't agree with half of what they tell you, because they're just going to go by, you know, mainstream truth that you can find anywhere. And even they say it. The surname of Donald Trump's family was originally Drumpf. I mean, his name never was Drumpf. Six, 666 comes to Donald John Drumpf. And Don Drumpf comes to 666 in English gematria. So what more do you need to know? All we're waiting on is what? That's right. And nobody tells the truth in God's word and gives you the world around you more than what I do. And I'm a very nervous person about that. Very nervous person about that. And it's what I don't say. I mean, I would be unnerved if I said everything at this point. But it's, you know, this is just strictly by the Bible, strictly for sheep. I never know who the lost sheep are out there. Yeah, today you might be, like I was, an astrologer. And my church was straight out of Rome, if you know what I'm saying. The world's most popular church, pretty much. Definitely the richest. More land and gold and money than any organized religion in the world. I think more than any of the banksters. Not really sure about that. That's a tough one. But yeah. So yeah. I'm a little nervous. But the truth in God's word, that God doesn't love everybody, that man has no free will, that God has created the end from the beginning. Isaiah 46:10, King James Version, Bible Gateway. Declared the end from the beginning, from ancient times, of the things that are not yet done. He's already declared. Even the things that are not yet done, they've already been declared from the very beginning of time, saying, my counsel shall stand, I will do my pleasure. He's already declared Revelation from Genesis, declaring the end from the beginning. Isn't the book of Revelation already written? And that's why they call Trump a time traveler. Because in Donnie Darko, they state, if you can see your future, isn't that a form of time travel? And Trump knows his future. It's written in the book. Plus, they say spiritually, he is a traveler through time. Why? Because he's of the seven kings. I knew what I haven't shown you.
We're all Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. We're all cut from the same cloth. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. We're all cut from the same cloth. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. We're all cut from the same cloth.
You're all cut from the same cloth. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump, we're all cut from the same cloth. Now, look, he's a good guy right now, right? For the most part, except for his, issues, which are many. I don't belong to either political scenario. 50% of the liberal world is perfect. 50% of the conservative world is perfect. 50% of the liberal world is garbage. 50% of the conservative world is garbage. That's how they play you. And they know you're going to slot yourself into one or the other. And I've sat there and watched everybody slot themselves one way or the other to where they firmly believe in one instead of laughing at both, knowing that it's all fake, it's all staged. Lock her up. Are you kidding me? So anyway, I digress. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump. The seven kings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and even the eighth, right? We got that? We got that. Does it get any better than that? And the beast that was the twin Trumps and is not, the twin Trumps are down, shall ascend out of the bottomless pit. Remember the movie The Dark Knight Rises? Out of the bottomless pit, rises. He literally rose out of a pit in that movie. He came up out of a pit. It's Christian Bale climbing up out of the pit. Can't make it up, can't make it up, can't make it up, can't make it up. Israel Museum. And of course, Bill Maher said, I think Trump is a set of twins, Ronald Trump and Donald Trump. And you got the golden arches, you got the archway. That's what all the archways are about, is that rebirthing path. It's the archway where you spiritually kind of get reborn. That's what the archways, that St. Louis archway and all that's about. They've got them in France, Paris. Ronald Trump and Donald Trump, the McDonald's. And of course, don't get me started on the University of Florida. Devil's Advocate came from Gainesville, Florida, the seven kings. Spurrier's birthday was the same as Hitler's. You got the seventh coach, including Spurrier, on through. It's the seventh. You now have the 7th coach in place. And the new basketball coach just came over from the San Francisco Dons. And their mascot is called the Don, the Don, the Donald, the Don, means boss, mafia boss, Don Corleone, the Godfather. James Bond just had their 60th anniversary. The Godfather just had their 50th, celebrated both at this past Oscars. We think we're very close to what's going to go down. Trump worship all over the world. The whole world's going to go absolutely nuts when the event takes place. And it'll be a false flag event. It won't even be real. He was in India. They loved him over there. Loved. Loved, loved, loved. Had a lady in Australia, a Facebook friend of mine. She cleans houses. She said 2 of the people that she works for regularly are gigantic Trump fans. Gigantic. I mean, Revelation 9:11 is all about Apollo, the destroyer. Trump Tower, you got what? Apollo led in his chariot by Aurora. Remember the Aurora, Colorado situation when Batman was released, or The Dark Knight Rises was released? Eros and Psyche, that's the fallen angel mating with the human women. I mean, and this is your guy? I mean, this is, and you're like, well, he's better than the other. They've given you nothing. They give you far left or him. That's what everything's boiled down to in Los Estados Unidos. This is what you're left with. The Antichrist or the super far left. That you don't have a choice. They just freak you out. What came first? Flag Day being Trump's birthday? Or what came first, Flag Day or Trump's birthday? How long do you think it's been the plan? How long do you think all this has been the plan? Way before he was born. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Rosemary's Baby kind of movie, kind of situation. The beast that thou sawest was the twin Trumps, and is not. Twin Trumps are down. Shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world. You either were or weren't from before the foundation of the world. There's no free will decision. If you're a lost sheep right now, he'll pull you out before you die. When they beheld the beast that was twin Trumps and is not, twin Trumps are down, and yet is. Oh, One World Trade Centers back up, or the Antichrist returns, seemingly from the dead, from a deadly wound, which is mentioned 3 times in Revelation 13, which Revelation 13 is your 666 Bible verse, the Bible chapter. There are 7 kings. Let's go back to that photo, right? There are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Nebuchadnezzar and Darius the Mede were not fallen. The Lord actually called them. They were heads of Babylon and Medo-Persia, but they loved Daniel. They were called to love Daniel and actually looked out for Daniel and protected Daniel. There are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Now, one of those 5 that are fallen is, you know who, and the other has not yet come. And that's when he returns. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space, very short. And the beast that was, the twin trumps, and is not, the twin trumps are down. Even he is the eighth. Oh, One World Trade Tower. He's back. He's alive. And is of the seven. Ah, the twin. So, yeah. I'm uneasy. I know too much. And I share too much. Even though there's a lot I don't say. And y'all know it. Because it's not personal, is it? Nope. Not for me, it's not. But it might be put in somebody's heart to be personal back at me. And I understand that. The Lord will put it in their hearts whenever it's time. Love y'all very much.